All right. So thank you. Oh, love seeing this. Some of you finished the application. Some of you are still thinking about it or have just started. That's fantastic. The goal of today is to help every one of you have the confidence to submit an application for the Catalyst program. Anyone can do this, and we really want to hear from all of you. And for those of you who have already submitted it, fantastic. Congratulations. Thank you. And today will be about learning more about the process. If you haven't yet interviewed, I think this will still be valuable. Even if you've interviewed, I think you'll learn more about the program. So really excited to welcome you all here tonight. This is the final info session or clinic we're doing for this application cycle because, as you might know, the deadline is in 6 days. So October 20th is the final date of applications for this cycle. I will tell you this cycle, we've received more applications than any other cycle we've ever run. So we're very excited about seeing how many folks are interested from as more states than we've ever seen them as well. So it's really wonderful to see that just the diversity of this movement continue to grow. And so today, I'm going to do a very quick overview of KaiPod Catalyst. I'm going to start with the assumption that most people know what a microschool is. Most people have at least heard of the KaiPod Catalyst program. And so I'll just go into a few of the slides from our info sessions. I'm not going to go super deep into them, but it just helps to set the context. If you do not know enough about the KaiPod Catalyst program or you want to learn more, on our website, we have a really helpful e-webinar. So it's a webinar I recorded a couple of weeks ago, and essentially it's all the information you would have gotten in a regular info session condensed into an online format that you can watch at your own speed. So if you haven't yet done that, or if you haven't attended an info session, that would be a good thing to do as well after today. So we'll do a quick overview. Then we're going to hear from our special guests today. We have 3 founders who applied to KaiPod Catalyst in the past cohorts who have now started schools. They're successful microschool founders, and I really want you to hear from them about their experience in the application process, the interview, the program itself, and then importantly, what is life like now running a school? And then we'll end with plenty of time for questions and answers. If you have questions as we're going tonight, or if you already have questions, put them right into the chat. Carolyn on my team, she's going to be monitoring it and just collapsing the themes together so that we'll be able to address every single one of your questions before we end tonight. That's our aim. Sound good? Ready, set, go. All right. So here is just a few quick overview of the KaiPod Catalyst program. I already mentioned this. Just a few stats. We're the largest microschool startup program in the country. We're supporting founders in more than 25 states in 3 countries. And we do believe we have the best program in the world and the best support for their founders who want to start schools. We're really just unbelievably excited to launch a brand new cohort. Every time a cohort launches with us, we're just full of that energy and the excitement of all these wonderful new school visions that are about to come up to life. And so we're really excited about having that jump off just in a few weeks now. Some stats that I'll share. Our cohorts are very selective. We accept less than 10% of the founders who apply. I don't say this to scare anyone. I say this to ensure that everyone really gets excited about the high caliber of founders in this program. We want founders who have the right motivations, the right vision, the conditions are right in the community to support a school. And so we're really honest about that in the application process and the interview process to make sure you are going to be successful in launching your school. Second, we've already supported more than 100 founders going through this program. And by supporting so many founders across so many cities and states, we've seen a lot of the questions and challenges that come up. So that helps us get better and better as we go. So that really makes me confident that we're the absolute best program out there. And the third is just a proof point. We have a 6 times success rate compared to the national average. So someone who's starting a school just on their own with no support has a less than 10% chance of launching. That's a little bit of data from the National Microschooling Center. In our cohorts, it's about 60%. So we believe that given the support in the program, given all the community, the benefits of the community, founders have a much greater chance of being successful. So it's really a testament to the kind of program, the kind of community, and the kind of supports you're going to get, that your program is going to be much more likely to get off the ground. And then if you're here, you know a lot about microschools or you've been doing your research. So I'm not going to go into what a microschool is, but I really just love this slide because it helps me talk about how microschools break the mold of the traditional education system, right? All of us have probably been in the system either as children, as parents, or as educators, and we know that for many kids, it doesn't work. And so what micro schools can do is really show up for kids in a different way. They can really personalize the learning for every single child. They can build these positive social, healthy dynamics in a community in a way that large schools can't do. For families, micro schools break the mold because they give you tons of flexibility, tons of different options in terms of how you want to help your child. And then they give this tight sense of community. And I know some of the founders here today, Mercedes, I saw your photo from your school of the family day. I forgot what you called it, but all the grandparents, the family, everyone was there. Micro schools breed this phenomenal community. And everyone in America right now is looking for tighter communities. So I think that's a really powerful way that they break the mold of education. And then for educators, people like you who are going to be launching schools, you're never going to get this much autonomy in a traditional school. You have so much autonomy. And the people who are nodding, they're the ones who've already started schools. I can see you're never going to get this much autonomy in what you want to do and how you want to run your school. The growth you're going to experience in yourself, in your career, is just unbelievable. The relationships you're going to build with kids and families is second to none in any other education environment. And then as you succeed, as you build your school and get bigger and bigger, the financial rewards, the financial success for you is also unlimited. It's really the sky is the limit for you in terms of how big you want to get. So there's just so much benefit for all of the key stakeholders here that we're so excited to bring more and more micro schools to life in this world. But it's also hard, right? It's not easy. It's not just, oh, I'm just going to start a school and then off I go. In addition to starting a school, you're starting a small business. And that means you have to think about lots of different things. It's not just about pedagogy. It's not just about curriculum, but it's marketing, enrollment, financial modeling, compliance and regulation, location selection, operations. And so as educators, that can be really discomforting. It can create some insecurities. And so what this whole Catalyst program is designed around is knowing that no one really has all 8 of these nailed on day one. Everyone needs a little help on one or the other. Some of you may be coming in stronger on the business side of things. Others of you may be coming stronger on the education side of things. But together, as part of the Catalyst program and with your community of Catalyst founders, you're going to be able to get to what you need to on all of these building blocks for your school. And then the way this program works, just as a quick highlight, we look for really passionate educators on the left, educators who've got a really strong vision, really incredible passion, and the willingness to do the hard work. That's what we ask of you, that you have at least those 3 ingredients somewhere in there. And if you look at the application, if you look at the interview questions, they're all about, do you have these 3 ingredients? That's the starting point. Without that, you're not going to get a successful school off the ground. And then on the right is the stuff that the Catalyst program can help with. We have a full online step-by-step course that has all the different modules that you need in order to figure out what to do. It's built into a self-paced curriculum with lots of different modules that you take at your pace. We did some research that the first school we launched took us 1,500 hours to build. None of you have 1,500 hours to launch your school between now and the next fall. And what we've done is take this course and convert it into a way that it distills it to about 10 hours a week. And this course is basically the distillation of everything we learned in building our own schools and everything we've learned in supporting past cohorts of KaiPod Catalyst. In addition to the course, you get these pre-built templates. So enrollment forms, family handbooks, field trip permission forms, lease agreements. I don't want you to have to build that again. What's the point of you building another field trip permission form when someone else has already built it for you? Someone else has already had a lawyer look at it for you. So essentially, you take all those templates, which I'm confident saves you hundreds of hours of time, and importantly, thousands of dollars of fees. So we really want to get all that stuff off your plate so you can access everything that's in the program. There's a one-on-one coaching from the experts who built the KaiPod network. So if you need advice on the financial model, you're booking directly office hours with me. If you need help on a curriculum question, you're booking office hours with our head of academics, etc. So you're never going to be alone in this journey. When you have the questions for, well, how do I do this or what do I do next, you've got someone's phone number. You've got exactly how you get to. You know where to get that information. Then there's your group, the small community of other founders who you have been matched with. All of us need some level of accountability. And given that this is a very selective program for only the best educators, they're all going to be incentivized to help you launch. So we all work together as part of our small groups to get your school to go live. And so in these accountability groups, you set ambitious goals and we push you together to meet them. And that's part of the community. I say it's the best kept secret in education. We have these incredible educators who are, some of them are a few steps ahead of you. Some of them are just starting out, but all of them are celebrating you. All of them are there to support you, to give you some tips, to help you get back up if you fall, which, will happen to all of us. And so this community is just unbelievable and so exciting to see them show up for each other, even though they may have never met before. And then finally, the connections. The KaiPod network can connect you to insurance brokers, part-time accountants, lawyers, real estate brokers, whatever you need to get you going. We also have connections to a lot of the large funding organizations in this space, grant makers, loan providers, and also our very small grant for qualified funders that can help you get your school off the ground. So we really want to put in all the building blocks that help you get your school. So all of these things come together, and on the other end of this is your school. So if you join the Catalyst program and you commit to starting a school, we absolutely commit to you. That's how we look at it. And so a couple of the last things I want to highlight that I always get questions about. Number one is this is a program where your micro school is 100% owned and operated by you. You're not getting a job, or you're not working for KaiPod, you're not buying a franchise from me. It's your school. My job is to help your school come to life, which is very different than other programs. So I want to make sure that's super clear. This is your school. And what that means is you have unlimited autonomy. So you decide what you want your school to look and feel like. You decide how big you want your school to get. You decide which curriculum you want to use. You decide where you want your school to be. As our founders will tell you, we have a lot of opinions. We will tell you when we think something is a good idea or a bad idea, but ultimately it's your decision. And that is, I think, really freeing for a lot of educators because you probably spent a lot of time being told what to do when your instinct told you that's not right. And so in this program, we'll give you advice, we'll give you feedback when you ask for it, but ultimately it's your school. And the other benefit of it being 100% owned and operated by you is financial success, financial upside. If you decide you want your school to get bigger or you want it to replicate across multiple towns in your state, all of that success is yours, right? I don't cap you. This is your program. So all of these things we believe are aligning the incentives. So you are in the driver's seat as an entrepreneur, and I am your really great co-pilot, your co-passenger. And what that means is through the whole step of the way, we're providing you marketing support, professional development, software to run your school, curriculum discounts, ongoing support with compliance, because believe it or not, rules do change, back office support, and then access to this incredible community. So those are some of the highlights of this. When we get into Q&A, we'd be happy to talk about any of this. And I'd probably ask our founders to sort of share what their experience was in the program, and if there's anything they'd like to add or edit into what I just said. And then if you have questions for them, let's ask them directly. Okay, so before I turn it over to our founders, I will just give a quick reminder. Application deadline is October 20th. It is the absolute last day for applications for the cohort that's launching. The URL is, you can just go to our website, kaipodlearning.com, or you can go to this bit.ly/KaiPod Catalyst. All of you who are in this webinar, I will also send you an email tomorrow with the link once again. And if you have any questions, just reply to that email. Okay, so that's it for me. So now I'm going to go to our awesome founders, and we're going to hear from them directly. So if Carolyn could spotlight them so everyone can see them. So first in here, we've got Eliza Hernandez from Noma Learning in Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Eliza. And I'm not going to do the introductions. I want you to do the introductions. So I'm just going to say hello. Then we've got Jordan Semang, who disappointingly is not wearing a cowboy hat. Oh, he just got it on. Awesome. He is near Austin, Texas. He just launched Spiria Academy. Jordan's always got a great hat on. And then third, we got Mercedes Grant from Path of Life Learning in Yorktown, Virginia. There she is. So these are our awesome three founders. Both Jordan and Mercedes were in our very first cohort of Catalyst. Eliza was our most recent cohort of Catalyst. And so I've invited this sort of two different cohorts to speak about the program. What they probably don't realize is the cohort has changed quite a bit even between the two of them, right? And so obviously it keeps getting better every time we run it. So let's now do some introductions. Eliza, we'll start with you. Tell us about your school, a little bit about how, like your vision, how many kids you have, and maybe your why. Why did you do this?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Elisa Hernandez. I feel like I'm like catfishing everybody from that picture that you just showed because I'm like, that's not how I look right now. It's been a busy day. So I apologize. So I am in Goodyear, Arizona. I'll try the Spark Notes version as quick as I can. I was a teacher for 10 years. I was a high school English teacher. When I started researching micro schools and the idea of micro schools, I was like, no, I actually don't want to do that. That was like my first instinct because it seemed like a lot of work. It seemed like I didn't want to run a business. Like that really wasn't what I wanted to do. And then as I started going more into it and really looking at what it was that I could do as a micro school leader, I really was like, okay, this is what I need to do. Um, basically, I signed up with KaiPod. I did my application. Um, when I did my interview with KaiPod, I mean, I shared with them what I wanted. I wanted a 6th through 12th grade micro school in my home, where students that my big two were personalized and fun experience for secondary students, so that they could learn while having fun. It was very much like a secondary learn through play type vision. And I remember in that interview too, I just basically said, I would love help from KaiPod, um, but I'm going to start a micro school with or without KaiPod. I would love to have help with from KaiPod because I seems like they could do what they could come alongside me and help me, but I was going to do it. And I am so glad that they chose me because I don't know if I would have been able to do it without KaiPod, truthfully. I mean, all the business side of stuff that I was worried about, they covered. All the like little curriculum pieces that I was worried about covered. Like everything was covered. I could always have like a one-on-one with somebody, and there was no like stupid questions. Like there was nothing like that. Um, so yeah, I joined in, when did it start? March of this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was a little bit more accelerated because we were all starting in August, like, 2 months ago. But I loved it. I thought that the pacing was really good. At least for me, I loved it. Because I was ready to roll in August. I was like feet running in August. So, yeah, I currently have 14 enrolled. They come to my tiny living room every day. And we have a great time. It is 6th through 12th grade. It's all very personalized education and it's fun. We have a great time every day. I hear students tell me, Miss Elisa, I've never liked school before, but I love coming to school. There was a girl who was like, do we have to take a fall break? Like, can we just keep this going? Like, they were really so much. And then I had a parent just text me today, even, who just said, their son has never enjoyed school. Their son has never had a good school experience, but now he feels like he's learning. He feels like he's connected with his education. He feels like he's taking control of his education. And so those of you who are teachers and are wondering, like, how am I going to do this? You already have the tools. KaiPod just helps you find those tools. You already have everything you need. KaiPod just helps you figure that out. So yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to look me up. I'll put my info in the chat if anybody needs it. So that's it.
You've always been so helpful. Those of you who might be in this Facebook group called Microschooling 101, Elisa just posted a comment there last week that I guess went viral. And so she had like 40 or 50 comments that are asking her follow-up questions. So sometimes you go famous for stuff like this. Thanks, Elisa. All right, Jordan, let's go to you. Tell us about your program vision, your school, kind of what brought you into this world.
Um, wow. How far do you want me to go back? Now
Let's
the
do
reason
the
why,
Spark Notes version, Jordan.
yeah, yeah. Well, first I need to clarify, I've got nothing on top, so I really have to wear really awesome hats all the time. And the kids have actually started calling me Bald Superman. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. It's much better than them saying Skibbity Toilet Rizzler Ohio Grimace Shake like all the time. So I think we're accomplishing something good, so long as you're not saying that sort of stuff. Well, this is my 17th year in education. I started off as a fifth grade history teacher, and then worked myself all the way up through high school, where I was an administrator for 5 years. Before my family and I decided Austin was no longer a place where we wanted to be. They were starting to price us out, and so we wanted to make the move. And the school that I was with at that time was like, well, we don't have anything for you. So I was like, you know what? It's probably time. And it's time for me to just go ahead and embark on my own personal journey. I knew I didn't want to leave education. And so I started looking around and looked at consulting work. And then around about in January, I got a call from Amar. And it completely changed my life. And he's right here right now, and I'm watching his facial reaction because I think after he said I was accepted into the KaiPod program, I didn't speak for a good solid minute. And I was at a conference at the time, and called my wife and I was like, "Hey, this is it. We're doing it. We're gonna go for it." And she's like, "Oh, but questions." The thing was, I was like, "Hey, just be patient," because all questions that I had were answered all throughout the entire experience with KaiPod. So my school, Sperry Academy, is it was really cool actually hearing Eliza say all that sort of stuff because the very similar approach, I think. I've got a high school 9 through 12, but I do have a couple like gifted middle schoolers who are there with me. Individualized, personalized instruction, really hands-on, problem-based stuff that I ran away from screaming the standardized, nationalized tests and going, no, this is not an accurate measure of student success. So the real accurate measure of student success is like how well they can think and apply and then change and manipulate. And so those are like that's my inner gears. I love like pulling that out of the kids. And so every single day, that's what we do. I set up challenges for them. I get them rolling, backfilling anything that they may need. I've taught everything from history to physics to forensic science to calculus, and so this is it's also like personally a really great challenge for me. And so I think one of the best bits of advice I can give y'all thinking about applying to the KaiPod Catalyst is that they're going to push you and they're going to challenge you and they're going to get you to think around your own problems. I can't thank Amar enough actually for meeting me for a drink in Austin because I think at that time too I was still kind of like I don't know if this is going to work for me. But he really convinced me just to go ahead and take the leap, and I'm so glad I did. We're in our second year of operation. I've got 12 kids, and we started off with just two. So, this is immense, amazing growth. They're going to help you identify the best place for you to set up. They're going to help you identify or help you contact people who are going to help you with grants and all that other stuff too. So, the amount of confidence you gain here is immeasurable. And yeah, that's pretty much yeah. I'm same here, Elisa. I like too. Like I'm the only staff member, but my mom does come in. She's a retired teacher, 36 years on Mondays and Wednesdays, and helps out. So that's a great thing. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I can say about that. Did I cover all your questions, Amar? Am I good?
Thank you. And I would say one day I would love to meet your mom because I feel like she would be quite an interesting lady, Jordan. Thank
She
you.
really is. Yeah, she really is. Just brilliant and colorful. And she taught art for the longest time, so she's like kind of like hippie woo woo.
Mhm.
But she's also like really like honed in on that vision. Like how do we target the kids' essential creative thinking skills, and how do we get them to pull that from the schemata? So it's a really cool thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan.
Yep.
All right, Mercedes, let's go to you. Same batch of questions.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here. If you are a public educator or in any traditional school setting right now, I know that you are extremely tired. You are probably exhausted. You are working with these children that you love, but you feel like you cannot make a difference in their lives, a real, true, deep impact in their lives. And that's where I found myself when I left the public school system in 2022. And I was actually listening to a podcast and I'm like, actually several, I'm like, where are all the teachers going? I know they're leaving. Some teachers are going to like corporate, they're going to ed tech. And then I found out about micro schools, and it was not a very popular thing back in 2022, believe it or not. But I heard about it and I was like, oh my gosh, I decided that day I'm done. I'm quitting. I'm a military spouse who has taught in 4 different states. Well, I guess Virginia counts as 5. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't commit to someone else's dreams for my life. And so I stepped away and I decided I'm going to do all this research. I'm moving to a new state. I'm going to open this micro school and it's going to be amazing. And then I realized, like, oh my gosh, like I have to figure out all these things that I don't really know how to do. And so that's when KaiPod Catalyst came into play. I was listening to Carrie McDonald's podcast, and I heard Umar on there for the second time, and he's talking about this program, and I was like, what? I'm applying tomorrow. And so I applied, y'all, and I didn't really know what to expect. I felt like, okay, I've already done this research. I've been doing this for over a year now. I already know what I'm going to do. This is my vision. I'm going to open in my home with 8 children. And then boom, what do we know? Like 6 months later, I open with over 30 students in a church where I am like beyond blessed. So we are in our 2nd year this year. We have over 40 students. We are kindergarten through 6th grade. We offer hybrid options. I know someone asked a question about that. I have students that come 2 days a week, students that come 4 days a week. We're closed on Fridays, which is amazing. Okay. Teacher burnout is like gone because we have an extra day to do all of our planning. It's amazing. Our students are incredible. Culture is at an all-time high. The morale of what Umar said about figuring out that link between the families, the students, and the educators. And it's like the circle of life of like true happiness. This is what education should be. So if you are going to apply to this, I was like, Umar, I thought everybody got into Catalyst. And he's like, no, girl, nobody gets in. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you guys, if you are going to apply or if you've already applied, like take this very seriously. I would say to spend some real time and thought. Think about your why. Think about where your passion is. Think about, spend some time thinking about what am I going to do? How committed am I to this purpose? Really think about the students that you want to impact, the families that you want to impact, how you're going to impact the community where you live, or where you decide to work if it's different from where you live. But really take some time, because if the KaiPod Catalyst program is going to be so picky, okay, because if they can be picky and decide like who is the best of the best, who is the cream of the crop, you really have to spend some time working on these things and deciding like, all right, if I'm serious about this, I'm going to go all in. So just give it your all and just be ready to work, be ready to get some questions answered that you have no idea. I thought I had everything figured out and I had no idea. And it just keeps getting better and better. I will say, for those people who are like, okay, what happens after launch? Like, I like to call it beyond Catalyst, where you get to really be in partnership with not only the people at KaiPod, but also the people that you are in community with that are also, founders that are just alongside you the whole way. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Thank you, Mercedes. That's excellent. Appreciate all the kind words from you all. Let's use this a little bit of a segue. If you can remember what the application was like, writing the application or going through the interview, can you share a few tips for the people listening today? Mercedes already shared a few. Really take the time to remember your why. Jordan and Lisa, anything else that you can recall that you wanted to share as tips?
Yeah, I would just say, obviously you don't need like a full plan, because I definitely didn't have like a full plan going into this, but definitely have a clear vision. Like, what do you want out of this? Because if you just want like a paycheck, or if you just want like, whatever, this ain't it. But think of what it is that you want out of your micro school for your community. Be really specific about what your community needs and what you can offer in that community.
That's great.
Yeah, and I would say too, like use the questions that are asked on the application process as reflection before you answer. like really dig deep into what is missing in your community, what kind of niche you would like to fill, and then also what's missing in your own educational journey, and how you can fill that too. And also good lighting doesn't hurt. I don't know if y'all are still doing videos. Yeah, good
Really
lighting doesn't hurt, and a cool hat. Just
a
put that
cool
out
hat.
there. Yeah.
Just bring your hat. Yeah, we want to see. We want to see. We want to meet you. Written application doesn't bring the magic to life. We want to really know what is your soul of an educator. What is the passion? What comes out when you're talking to someone? We can't do these in person, so we do them virtually. So really bring your best self to that. We also asked our founders who have already gone through the program on our online community, what advice would you give? And I think it resonates with what you also said. One person said, be confident, don't be afraid to let them know who you are. One person says, have a rough structure of your program, and an idea of what your philosophy is. You don't need to have everything figured out. We don't expect that. But what we do want is a strong point of view on something. That, yes, this is what I believe. We want to really know what that is for you. Another person says, show the passion and your confidence. Don't undersell yourself. I love this one because often when I meet educators, there's a huge sort of imposter syndrome that's very clear. It's coming across that, oh, I'm just a teacher. I think I want to start a school. No, you're going to be a founder. You're going to be an entrepreneur. Don't undersell yourself. Really be confident in what you can do and your abilities to execute it. And then the final piece of advice, just to summarize, is demonstrate a strong willingness to be mentored and being flexible and understanding and learning from your community, the KaiPod team. That's why you're applying, right? You're not applying because you've already got everything figured out. You're applying because you want the mentorship and the help. And so show that you're flexible and you're excited about it. So those are some of the tips from our cohort. Let's talk to everyone here again about the experience now. So once you got the call, Jordan couldn't speak for a minute. The rest of you, hopefully, were very excited when you got the call. Tell us about the program itself. Like, summarize your experience. What is how would you summarize it for the future founders here?
I mean, it was just so many good resources. Um, so many good resources that were kind of like take what you need. And it was like so somebody asked me in that like Facebook thread, like, do they make you do certain things certain ways? And it was just like you said earlier, it was, no, this is your school. They're just here to support your vision. And so that's what I loved about it. It was like, here's what I want to do. And everyone was like, cool, here's how we're going to get that. So it was just so many great resources, no dumb questions. The community, oh my gosh, it's been so great to get on that Slack channel and be like, hey, here's my issue, and then like 5 people have solutions for me. So yeah, it's all great, good resources.
Yeah, I will add that going through the first cohort, just the camaraderie between the founders and knowing that we're going to meet up every other week. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to laugh together. We're going to cry together. We're going to have those aha moments. We're going to ask like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And we get all of these ideas from each other. So that piece of it in not feeling like you're alone. If you talk to other founders that have not been through KaiPod Catalyst, they will often say, like, I feel like I'm on an island. I feel like I don't have people that I can really connect with. And while there are Facebook groups out there, it's not the same as having real people that are not only invested in you, but you're able to invest in them. And it just feels like such a strong community even way after. Like, I love that we have a channel that we're all on and that we can go there and ask a question or ask for advice or, hey, where was this located again? And everybody helps each other out. So I will say that part like was huge for me, just to know I always have someone to talk to or run ideas by.
Yeah, I think I can piggyback off of everyone's responses there too. And there were some times, and I know Mercedes, you and I were in that same group there. Sometimes you didn't really feel like logging in. It was just like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and you're just like dead tired. But there was always this cajoling, and then the carousing afterward made you feel like uplifted, even regardless of what you were going through that day. It was always great to connect, and I think just the amount of information we got right up front, presentations, being able to just like text Rory at any point throughout the night, like they were always available to us. And even if they didn't respond at 2:30 in the morning, whenever I'm having a panic attack, then the next day, certainly they would get back really early. Always happy to hop on a call. So yeah, there's like the technical aspect, which really great information to help guide through that, and then the community piece, which I think they go hand in hand. Everyone on the KaiPod team really wants to see us succeed, and that reads through.
I love that all three of you actually mentioned the three pillars of the program. Eliza, you mentioned the content and the resources. Mercedes, you mentioned the community. And Jordan, you mentioned the coaching, like the Rory, like the just one-on-one coaching. Those are the three pillars of the program. We really want to make sure you get support, self-paced through the content, peer group support through the community, and then expert coaching from our team, right? That's what we believe in. So you actually independently all mentioned those three things. So a lot of the folks here are probably either a little insecure about applying or wondering, should I apply? Am I going to do it? Yes, I'm seeing some nods. Let me ask the three of you, what do you think makes a great founder for a micro school?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. A good listener. Honestly, someone that is willing to just like we go in gung ho. We think we know everything. I want to say that I'm a good listener sometimes, but you have to be. I mean, remember, Umar, when I knew everything about curriculum?
Yes.
And I didn't really know. And I had to try it out and fail for 11 weeks at the beginning of my first year. And I think you really do. Like, we are so driven. We want to work all the time. We want to do what's best for our students and our communities. But you have to first listen to what your community needs. Why are you doing this in the first place? Obviously, there has to be a need for it. So I think, passionate people, obviously, people that are willing to work really hard, and then people that are willing to say, you know what, I'm going to let you tell me or let you give me some advice because I'm new to this and I don't want to reinvent the entire wheel. Let me go ahead and release some of this to you and I'm going to listen. And with that comes a lot of trust. So I think that's, those are the kind of people that you would definitely want to be in this program.
Great. Thanks, Mercedes.
That's so funny you said that. I was gonna say teachable. Because that's like exactly what I was gonna say. It's, you probably have a lot of know-how already. You probably have a lot of skills that you're gonna bring to your micro school. Um, but at the end of the day, I didn't know what I didn't know, when it came to starting a micro school. And so, being able to listen to other founders without giving up my vision still, but still being like, oh, let me take this and let me take what I need here and let me take what I need here, and being able to listen to that one-on-one coaching and being like, that makes more sense now. I can actually see. And when you hear all these things, you can see your vision start to come together. I'm saying the word vision a lot, and that sounds really like woohoo, but you know what I mean? Like you can start to see your school kind of come together when you're actually like listening and like understanding from all these different resources. So yeah, teachable was what I was going to say. I know that's kind of the same thing, but
Okay.
yeah.
2 votes for teachable/listener. Jordan, how about you?
Gosh, I'm neither of those things. Totally kidding. No, I don't know, man. That's a tough question because looking back at our cohort, we had such a wide variety of individuals who were just in it just for the passion. They wanted to teach. They wanted to get some new idea off the ground. And I, being kind of a risk averse individual, this is a huge leap of faith for me and for my family. And so I think someone who can take a look at what kind of positivity you can bring to your community and take that jump, knowing that you got a great network of support underneath you, is I think someone who's going to be successful. Even you're going to fail. You're going to say something. You're going to hurt someone's feelings. You're going to not file your 990 EZ, and then the IRS is going to come knocking at your door. They're really nice people at the IRS, so I wouldn't even worry about it. But most of them are. But really, it comes with that. I don't want to say confidence, because you can be overly confident too, but you have to have just a little bit of that. You got to have just a little bit of that. Well, what happens if I jump without a parachute ism? And I think that's really what sets you apart.
I love it. And I had one teacher who told me, worst case, I'll just go back to the classroom. There's such a teacher shortage. Worst case. And I was like, we're never going to get to that point. Once you start running your school, you're never going to want to go back. And you can see these three. So you can tell yourself that. Worst case, I'll just go back to teaching, but you're not going to want to do it. You're going to love this life. Okay. Let's do some rapid fire questions from the audience. Carolyn is summarizing them for me, so I'm going to do rapid fire. So to all three of you, do you have to offer a 2-day, 3-day, or full-time options? Curious how that works. Anyone you want to answer that?
Depends.
I've got sorry, go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do as a founder. Period.
Yeah, listen to your community. We have a lot of founders who come in saying, I'm only going to do full-time, but then the parents in the community say, I would love a flexible option. Listen to the community, what they tell you. Okay, how many students do you all have in your schools?
I have 4.
Baker doesn't.
14 for Eliza, 12 for Jordan. Mercedes has 40?
42.
42. Do you operate out of your homes? Yes
Nope.
to Eliza, 2 no's for Jordan and Mercedes. And the answer generally is what's right for your community. Back to that. Some communities, that's really welcome, depending on the types of families you're attracting. In other communities, they want a little bit more of a formalized structure. Depends on exactly what you want to do. And we're going to help you figure that out. My passion is for children ages 3 to 8. Does KaiPod work with micro schools for children under 5? Yes, we do. We have a handful of preschool micro schools in our network. And so, yes, we absolutely can support you there. Do we offer support with setting tuition, payroll, etc.? Lisa, Mercedes, got a big thumbs up. Yes. Oh, look at the fireworks, Mercedes. I don't know how you did that. Yes, we absolutely help with all of that. Our financial modeling template helps you do a competitive analysis of tuition in your area, set your price, figure out how many kids you need, and then decide how much you can pay yourself, your employees, pay for rent, etc. We help you with all that. We mentioned scaling. They're curious what the range is that we consider to still be a micro school. This is a very difficult question. There is no number. What I really care about is that you're personalizing the education for children. If you're serving really young neurodiverse kids, that's probably 3 or 4 kids per educator, not more. If you're serving neurotypical or gifted high schoolers like Jordan is, you can go 12 to 15 kids an educator, right? And actually can deliver a really high quality program. And then from there, you can expand. You can add more educators, right? Mercedes, you have multiple educators who work for you, right? It's not like 42 kids are in her classroom. She's got 3 or 4 classrooms with those 42 kids. And so it really, there's no upper limit. We have one school in our network with 125 kids. Lots of educators. It's this wonderful, beautiful school building at church. And essentially, they have lots of small cohorts of kids. Can you start a micro school online? Yes, you can. Now I'm going to ask you why. And if you say it's because I want to save money on rent, I'm going to say that's not a good reason. But if you say, I want to do this because the population of kids I want to serve is going to thrive online, or they need flexibility. If you're doing it for the right reasons, you absolutely can. We have one founder in our next cohort who is going to try this, to do it online. There's not a lot of them because generally the vibe in America is kids need in-person community. But for some kids, that doesn't work. So if you're trying to serve kids in that population, yes, you can do this with the KaiPod program. Does support end after 3 years with KaiPod? Is support still needed after that? So your formal contract ends at 3 years. However, there will be a path for you to extend after that on whatever basis you determine is right for you. So you're going to possibly want to use our software to manage your school. You're going to want to be part of our professional development courses. You're going to want to take advantage of our student clubs and activities, et cetera, et cetera. So after that 3 years, so in the 3 years, everything's included. And after the 3 years, then you can go a la carte and decide what's right for you. Don't you need special zoning for running out of a home? So Eliza, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, in my area, I had to just register as I don't remember what, but I think it was just a learning center for my home. But you just have to kind of check your city zones. It's different for every city.
That's right.
Even if I just moved like one city over, it'd be different. So
Yeah, so you do need to check zoning. You don't necessarily need special zoning, but your residence needs to be zoned for a business or an education use, depending on the path you're going down. That is something we help you with as part of the compliance module. Okay, what is the longest running micro school? Ooh, micro schools have sort of been around for 150 years because they used to be called a one-room schoolhouse. So there's your answer. Within our network, we're only 3 years old, so I would say 3 years. But some of the schools that have recently joined our network have been around for 8 to 10 years. So yeah, schools can go for a long time. The key is financial sustainability. So that means not relying on grants forever and ever. It means having tuition paying parents or voucher ESA paying parents who come to your school. Do we provide suggestions on locations? Yes. Mercedes, Lisa, Jordan, anything you want to add to that in terms of the support you got on location?
I would say individualized support with like every single step of the way. There are so many ideas that they can give you. There is a whole module on that. There are so many. I mean, remember when we did that one with the mapping and like my mind was so blown. I'm so thankful I already had a place by then, but it is like intense and they do all of these things and they think about all these things that we may not think about just being regular teacher people.
We had Mercedes is talking about, we had this guy come in who does store selection for Walgreens. So he helps Walgreens figure out exactly where to put the right store. You can imagine they have a ton of data on where to put the right store. So he was obviously saying you can't use all of this data, but he was helping figure out how do you prioritize the right location for your school. It was wild. It blew my mind that that's how they think about it. Jordan, Elisa, anything you want to add to this location question?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. That was such an incredible presentation. As a data guy myself, it was really fun to see like the different types of clouds. And yeah, I mean, Amar, you and I have had conversations one-on-one about like what's the best place for it, and the great questions you had there. So, I think just be honest, chat with people.
I mean, I already knew that I was going to do for my home, but I even just like hearing the conversations that they would help with people and like the creative solutions they came up with just blew my mind. So, yeah.
Awesome. If I'm working full-time currently, what is a time commitment for the cohort? What was your experience like? All of you were working full-time, I believe, during
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I was still finishing up my teacher contract when we started. I mean, I'll be honest, I was kind of like phoning it in real hard those last months as being a teacher. Y'all know. So I was focusing a lot more on KaiPod, but it is quite the time commitment. It's they tell us 10 hours a week. That's about accurate. Yeah.
Jordan, Mercedes, anything on that?
I didn't sleep.
I
Still don't
just,
sleep.
you don't sleep anyway. You have
I think
coffee.
I don't sleep anyway. But yeah, I mean, it was with KaiPod though, it was like something you really look forward to. So it didn't feel like a time commitment with that. But I mean, the real work comes in, and I was working as an administrator, and so I was working 60 some odd hours a week as it was. Um, but this is also something that you're going to be passionate about, and that you are passionate about, and that you're gonna make time for regardless. So it didn't really feel like much of a time commitment period.
And I will add to, we all went through in February, March was when we started and we launched in August, September. So y'all are starting way ahead of that. But like they said, it feels really good and it's really passionate work. So you won't even feel like it is like a burden on your shoulders. It's more like, oh, what is the next creative adventure?
And Liz just mentioned a question that addresses what I was going to say it now. It is all self-paced. And again, since these three went through the program, we have done a lot to take away sort of the evening calls where I'm talking to you or I'm lecturing to you. Like we've converted all of that into a self-paced course with some text and videos. So you could do that at your own pace. And then what you do in the evenings is those group calls where you really want to do those live. So that helps create more balance. So you can work on it at your leisure compared to when these guys went through it. However, as you go through, from November till August, in the beginning, you're doing a lot of planning, which is super flexible, right? You do it when you want. But then you can imagine as you get into the spring and the summer, more work picks up, right? So you're talking to families and you can't just say, I'll call you at 11 o'clock at night. You're talking to them on the weekend or at a reasonable hour during the evening. You're going around looking for your location in the spring. So that requires some sort of less flexible time. So your time kind of ramps up over the spring and the summer. And usually by summer, you're full time doing this, right? You're setting up your location, you're recruiting families, you're getting all your curriculum done. So all of that ramps up. But in the beginning, while you're still doing your full-time job, you should expect about 10 flexible hours a week. Are we able to help founders with serving underprivileged students, grants, vouchers, nonprofits? So why don't you all talk about the population of kids you're serving? Are they using vouchers or education savings accounts? How are they paying for it? Do you have grants, et cetera?
Okay, I'm doing it. I am in Virginia. We do not have any grants. We had a grant our first year being open. One of the amazing options that we offer families that makes it more affordable is having the hybrid schedule. That has just been such a lifesaver for parents with multiple children. But at this time, we don't have any government assistance. We don't have any kinds of vouchers or grants or anything. So we're just thankful for our students and populations being able to afford. I will say that if we were ever offered that opportunity, we would, I mean, Path of Life Learning would expand so quickly. I wouldn't even know what hit me. But I will say that KaiPod Catalyst, like they know what states offer and they're going to be able to help with all of that.
Yeah, we are desperately trying to get ESAs passed over here in Texas, and I think that's going to be a huge opportunity for a lot of families. We've got families who are already talking about that and seeing how they can save some money that way. All of my parents are able to pay the tuition, and just like Mercedes, I've got full-time, part-time, and then a 2-day program for listening to my community. That's what they wanted, so we offer that 2-day thing for them. And they come from all walks of life. So demographics are kind of just scattered all throughout. Just and then my wife gets on to me all this time. I'm going to go ahead and say it. But if you meet a family that is going to struggle to pay, but you feel like that kid needs to be there, then you'll make it work. Period. So I've got a few of my kids that need to be with my school, and we're making it work with them.
And Jordan, that reminds me, I actually had a meeting with someone in the Lieutenant Governor's office in Texas. We're going to do a rally at the Capitol that we're going to invite you and your families to help that ESA get passed. Awesome. Eliza, how about you on vouchers? And you're in Arizona, so tell us
I'm in
yours.
a unique situation. I didn't think I saw anybody else who was in Arizona, but we have universal ESA here. So yeah, we have students can get up to $7,000 for any type of alternative education. So yeah, so we use ESA. All my families use it. And honestly, it's been the greatest thing because I know that there are students that would not be able to make it in public school right now, and they would not have that option anywhere else if it weren't for ESA right now. So I'm very grateful, and I'm pulling for all your micro schools to get it one day. I'm pulling for it, putting it out there.
Nice, thanks. All right, one final question. You've done a great job enrolling students. What did you do to get the word out about your schools?
I took a page right out of Amar's playbook and made myself really uncomfortable at the grocery store and started shaking hands and talking to people. But that aside, I actually got 2 enrollments for that way. But we had Facebook is going to be your best friend. Reach out, get into as many groups as you can, local groups, get into the homeschool groups, get into your the other educator groups, and follow their guidelines. Post as much as you can, and then we've got my car too. I've got my little signs on my car the little magnetic ones. So really, it just comes down to stepping out of your shell a little bit. And this is the entrepreneurial side, right? This is where you have to be the businessman and businesswoman and get out there and talk to people, shake those hands. I'm not wearing it right now, but for this entire weekend, I wore my Spirit t-shirt, and forgot to mention, Amar said, the name is a big thing, and so like make sure you choose a name that people are going to go, what? And so my school, Spiria, Spyrja. I get a lot of Spyrja, which is a great opportunity to go, actually, it's Spiria, it's Old Norse. And so like that's a great conversation starter. So start conversations, talk with people, shake hands, go join the Chamber of Commerce. That's a great way to start there too. So that's how I brought in kids.
Lisa, how about you?
Yeah, definitely Facebook groups are your best friend. Get in all of them. Post as much as you can. I mean, I tried to post at least twice a week in the ones that I could, different ones. Um, so yeah, and then I think I said this, maybe I didn't say this. I had to kind of switch a salesman mindset because I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. So whenever I would have like parent interaction, I'd be like, here's my program. Here's what Noema Learning's about. And if you like it, cool, let's do this together. And if you don't, then I'll help you find something else that you want to do. So I had to kind of switch my mindset to be like, please come to my thing rather than that, just be like, hey, here's my program. I think that this would be a good fit. If not, that's fine too. And I think once I did that, then the parents really started flowing through. So, but yeah, otherwise marketing, I mean, I had Instagram, Facebook, I just spammed it as much as I could.
Don't spam it, but yes, do a lot of posting. It's the fastest way to get blocked in those groups. All right, let me close this with one question to each of you. So take a deep breath. What has this journey meant to you as a person? Not Catalyst, the starting of the school.
So I just turned 40 this year, and it's a big age, and I didn't think it was going to hit me hard, and it did. And I found myself in the gym the other day listening to a song and like welling up a little bit. And my wife can tell you I don't have any emotions, so this is a new one for me. And it's you spend some time in the off hours where the kids are gone and the hall's empty, and you're just left with your own silence, and it's in those moments where you realize just how much of yourself you pour into your jobs and into your kids, and that's something that I've always done as an educator, but knowing that I'm controlling that and get to see them walk home every day with their heads held high. Yeah, it's exactly where you should be, right there in that moment.
For me, I grew up in poverty and I had a really hard childhood, chaotic life, throughout my childhood and then into adulthood. And I started teaching a little bit later than most. And as a military spouse, I just still felt like I was floating, and I just kept floating and I kept floating to the next state and to the next, and just like waiting for that impact to happen. And I just never got to experience the impact that I knew that I was called to make. And one of the biggest things for me was when I became a parent as a young mom, I really just wanted to leave behind a legacy that was different than the legacy my parents left. And now my children get to see me doing this active work and changing the trajectory, not only of my life, but also of theirs. And so I think that, finally reaching the point where I am somebody and I'm leaving behind a legacy for my children, but also for all these children that I get to finally impact so deeply It just feels like exactly like Jordan just said, like this is exactly where we are supposed to be. It just took this amount of time to get here. So it feels just absolutely incredible and like a blessing every day.
Yeah, I mean, um, I can remember this time last year working, in my traditional classroom and just going through it, right? Those of you who are teachers, you're going through it. Like it's bad. Like I was miserable. I wanted to teach so bad, and I just felt like I couldn't. I was like, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I've been wanting to do my whole life. Um, this is what I was trained to do. It's something I love to do, and I can't. My hands are tied. My hands are completely tied in this classroom. I don't know what else to do. I got so many kids in here. I like don't know how to handle all the stuff that I'm being like I couldn't do it. And so to look at Elisa in 1 year ago and me now, that's like two different ladies. Because where I am now, I feel like I'm finally teaching. Like I feel like I'm finally an educator. Like this is not what I thought I could ever do again. Like I really thought this was never going to happen. I'm never going to teach again. Like this is so like I don't know how I'm going to. And so now when my kids come into my living room and we start having these discussions and they start telling me everything that they're learning and they start expanding their knowledge base, and I see it happening without standardized tests, and I see it happening without all of the other garbage that I had to put them through. It's like this is education. And so I finally feel like, just like these two were just saying, I finally feel like this is what education needs to be. And I feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself, because this is truly micro school, guys, is going to be it. This is going to be it. This is how education needs to happen. And it's just something that that you're a part of, that I'm a part of. And if once you're a part of it, I don't think you're ever going to stop being a part of it. So anyway.
Thank you. You guys are just amazing. I get so emotional listening to you talk. I'm lucky that I saw you all before and I get to see you now, and how all of you, each of you has just changed so much as human beings. It's just, this is why I do what I do, right? I just love seeing this journey in people like you. So I hope everyone can please thank Jordan, Eliza, and Mercedes for joining us tonight, for sparing their time to share their experience. They share their email addresses. That's just the power of this community. They're more than happy to sort of answer questions offline. Please don't bombard them. If you have basic questions, send them to us. But if you have questions about the program, please go to them. If you want any feedback on what it was like, and I'm sure they're going to be completely honest. Thank you to everyone who joined tonight. 6 days left for the application. Please take the time to fill it out. We really want to hear from all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.